But what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd go ahead and answer one of the questions right here. Go ahead and do that here on Facebook for you so that we can talk about it, because I've got some fantastic questions. And this is one question that I got, but a lot of people seem to be asking a very similar question. So this question is, how do I choose the best subject that gives the best research idea? And I know that this is a big thing for incoming graduate students about how do you choose what your research is going to be, what is your research project going to be on. And I think it's very important. It's very difficult to answer this question, first of all, in a very specific sense, because best is going to be relative for different people. You know, what the best project is for you is going to be best, will not be the best for somebody else. So, but I think that here's the advice that I would give to anyone who is trying to put together a research program for their graduate degree. And the first thing I would do is I would say we need to assess it in the context of your objective. You know, what are you trying to do with your graduate degree? Where are you trying to move you as a career professional when you get out? And so, of course, we do want to tailor those things to your objective when your degree is complete. So in geography and GIS, that typically revolves around three things. You're talking about your subject matter, your thematic subject matter, whether it's in human geography or physical geography, your human environmental relations, and all of those thematic things. You're also talking about your methodology. Is that remote sensing? Is it GIS? Is it going to be statistical analysis? And some people want to specialize in particular kinds of methodology. And then people also want to look at a particular location. Where are you trying to study this particular phenomenon? And I talk about all those three things in my videos that I have on YouTube about what geography is, talking about the different methodologies and talking about different the thematic areas and so forth. Because it may be the case that you're trying to set yourself up in one of those areas as you go forward. You know, for instance, location. You may really want to be known as somebody who knows a lot about a particular area. And so, of course, you want to organize your research around that particular area if you can. So we want to think about those things, but we also want to think about the primary objective of your graduate research, which is actually not what I just described. That's kind of a secondary objective. The actual primary objective of your graduate research is an educational experience and to learn how to do research. You're going to be going from an idea and then developing your question and your thesis and then how your methodology to resolve your question, executing that, and then you're also going to be communicating it in some way. The written form is very important, learning how to write all of your material up, submit it to people who are going to evaluate it, communicate it at conferences, maybe even go on to publish it in a journal. So you're going to go from zero all the way to done. And you're going to learn a whole lot by doing that. So even though you may think, okay, I'm trying to set myself up for everything I'm doing afterwards. Well, yes, do that. But also realize that the degree or the research component of your degree is itself an educational experience. So if you have to compromise on some things because of constraints I'm about to talk about, accept that, be okay with that, because then you can go on and do better research in the areas that you want to do post your degree. Because you're going to look back on the research that you did during the degree and go, you know, in a year or 2 years or maybe even 6 months and go, you know what, I really could have done that better. There are a lot of things I would do differently, and then you can go and do them. And that's okay, because the research that you did as part of your degree was practice, was your education. Your professors are teaching you how to go through that process. And so you're going to be learning a lot just by doing that. And so what you need to take a look at are, what are your constraints? Evaluate what research project you're going to do in light of what constraints you have. And when you're doing a degree program, your two constraints, or primary constraints, are going to be time and money. Especially if you're doing a master's degree. A master's degree is a highly compressed educational experience, and there's a lot that has to happen within less than a 2-year time frame, two academic years, less than 2 calendar years. And I'm going to go through that in the seminar. I'm going to lay that out and all the different things that need to happen in order as far as time goes, and and what your benchmarks are on going through there efficiently. And you may think, oh, it's 2 years to get a master's degree, it's a lot of time, but it's really not when you think about everything that has to happen and also conducting your research. So time is going to be a major factor, and also money is going to be a factor. Even if you're getting your degree funded, so you're not paying tuition, there may not be a whole lot of money for the research itself. Now, there are different ways that you can get money for the research itself, and I'll talk about that in the seminar. But still, on the whole, the amount of money that you have to do your research is going to be a constraint. So accept that. So, when you're talking about what is the best, well, what you really want to do is make sure that you're executing a project that can be done in the amount of time that you've got, given the resources that you have, in order to get you the degree. The research theme that is accomplished and gets you the degree on time is going to be much more valuable than the one that is never completed or that drags into a third year and you realize you can't do and you have to change up, right? So make sure that it's highly constrained to make sure that you can complete it on time and get the degree. Most of the time when I talk to students, their problem is not that their idea is too small. Sometimes I talk to students who have an idea and it's something like this, and you think, well, if you want a master's degree or a Ph.D., you're going to have to think larger, you're going to have to do something more. But for the most part, when I talk to students, their idea is really big and very broad, and that's fantastic. And most of the time, I have to, though, bring them down into something more manageable, even for something like a class project. When you're trying to do a project for class within something like 3 weeks, big ideas are great. I love them, but then you have to look at the constraints and say, well, is this something that can be done in that amount of time? And then bring yourself down to that and make sure that it can be completed. So I would say that when you're assessing best, think about first what's best as far as the constraints that you have. That means that the project can actually be completed and done. Then think about what it is that you want to be known for or go into post-degree, and sort of fill in your methodologies, your locations based on that. And I would say if you have to, as a result, use your research while you're part of the degree program as kind of a pilot study for something you want to do in the future, that's okay. For instance, if you really want to do research in an exotic location, but and you want to be known for that, but you don't have the money while you're in graduate school, do the research project someplace close by. Say, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a pilot project. I'm going to do the research in some place where I can easily get to. That way I have experience going from zero to done with it. I know all the problems that I'm going to encounter. I'm going to work out all the kinks. And then when I go on to either a Ph.D., if you're in the master's program, or you go on to some other research position, then you say, now I have more money, I have more time, then I'll go and rerun this experiment because I worked all the kinks out of it in the actual location. See, that also works. So then you're not having to give up anything. You're using your degree program as the educational experience to set yourself up to go and do the process that you want. So then you're getting both of those. You're getting all of the themes and all of that you want to be known for. You're operating within the constraints. You're getting your educational experience, and it's getting done. So definitely think about those when you're trying to figure out what is the best research project for you. I'm going to be bringing out another video here on Facebook in the next few days because I'm getting lots of great questions. There's more I want to address. I'm putting together the seminar that should come out by the end of the month, but stay tuned here on the Facebook GeoMindz page. There'll be another video in 2 or 3 days. If you have questions, please submit them to me. You can talk down below in the comments section. I would love to hear what you have going on. If you have questions or comments, just write it down below. I would love to talk to you, and I may address them if they're worthy of longer answers and may need longer answers. I would love to address them in the next video here. So I look forward to talking to you in another video. In the meantime, I hope everything is going great with you, and let's do wonderful things in the area of geography and GIS.